I'm Molly, you're watching Mirror Readings, and today we're talking about the lines of your culture node. Culture is all about how we fit into society and how we fit in professionally. So it's either magnetizing that group of like minded people at the gift frequency who we're supposed to create our prosperity with, or in the shadow state, it's keeping those people away. Something else that's interesting to consider when talking about culture is our relationship with synchronicity. The gene keys tell us that synchronicity is like the love language of the universe, and when we're with the right group of people taking right action, a lot of times synchronicity will pop up a lot and start flirting with us to let us know that we're on the right track. If you've watched any of my other videos about the lines, you know that line 1 is all about the individual, and in the culture sphere, there's no exception. So line 1, individual, means that they're self-motivated. There's no shade in that. It's just the truth. That doesn't mean you have to be self-absorbed, but just be conscious if you have a first line of your own motivations. A lot of entrepreneurs have line 1 in their culture sphere, like Elon. But the thing is that if you're an entrepreneur and you have a great idea, you're going to magnetize the people to you that are going to help you bring it to life. So something else to consider if you're a line 1 is that you carry a great responsibility to hold the vision of your dream. It doesn't mean that you never compromise. It just means that you're meant to bring something new into the world, and that you're supposed to get other people to rally around whatever that is. This can be tough for first lines because a lot of times they turn inwards. But again, because this pertains to culture, this is all about how your idea magnetizes other people towards you. So if you find yourself chasing people around to try to make a project or an idea happen, that ain't it. That's shadow energy. And you want to be in the gift frequency, which is magnetic. But when those people come to you, line 1, who want to help you bring something new into the world, you gotta let them in, okay? Y'all have a tendency to isolate, and that's not going to help you realize your goals. And one more thing on line 1s, you guys are not result driven. That doesn't mean you can't get shit done. Of course you can, but you need to be able to hand the baby of whatever your idea is off to other people so that they can help bring it to market. Again, you're in charge of bringing the new concept or the new expression of an old concept into the world, and then magnetizing the right people to steward the marketing, the sales, whatever, the next steps. Okay, line 2 is partnership. And like all of the other second lines, you guys thrive on one-to-one relationships. That doesn't mean you can't work as part of a team. You absolutely can. But in terms of executing deliverables, you work best with one other person, and then you bring whatever you're working on back to the group. Now, in the shadow state, second lines can get caught up in codependency or being overly reliant on whoever that one other person is. The best way for second line cultures to stay out of shadow is to have a very clear vision of what you're working on and make sure you and your partner or partners and your whole team are on the same page about that. So as a second line culture, you will be able to bridge many different spheres and communities by way of your one-to-one relationships. One key for the second line culture is to make sure that they're not just siloed into one partnership. Like you might have like your work wife or husband, or someone that you like execute the majority of your deliverables with. But if you're just dealing with that one person and you're part of a team, odds are you're going to get siloed. As second lines, y'all have the ability to bridge all of these different worlds by virtue of your one-to-one relationships. So don't forget to cultivate more than one partnership. That's another way to make sure that you don't become codependent professionally with just one person. Okay, third line, you guys are the unit, and y'all are going to thrive in small group settings, like 3 people on the low end, no more than 15 on the high end. And you guys really love interacting. Frankly, it's more important to you than the product, which is fine. You guys have the ability to really maintain healthy small group dynamics. So that's the third line in its gift. In shadow, third lines can do what any small group of people does, which is become petty, gossipy, engage in like groupthink that creates some kind of like us versus them dynamic with other small groups. You don't want that. That's shadow shit, okay? Be in your gifts by being the heart of a team and being able to harmonize a bunch of different personalities pointed towards one goal. Line 4 is the network. You guys are the connective tissue that brings any project out into the macrosphere. So line 4s are wired to use technology to be able to transmit information that brings a project to scale. In shadow state, line 4s can get freaked out about this level of responsibility and isolate themselves. But they're the ones who are wired to be able to open the hearts of the masses to fall in love with whatever the idea or project is that they're working on. In order to stabilize in their gifts, line 4s need to be very rooted in themselves. So what can you guys do to feel at home in your own body? Can you hug a tree? Can you meditate? Whatever it takes to make you feel rooted in you, that's going to give you the energy that you need to be able to be the networker that line 4s are destined to be in their culture. Line 5 is society, and you guys are the power brokers as always. So in shadow state, this can manifest as a visceral need for recognition. You guys do not need recognition. You're going to get it anyway by virtue of being the most powerful of all of the 6 lines. But the most important thing to remember is that you serve higher consciousness. And that higher consciousness cannot work through you if you're in a shadow state of look at me, look at me, look at me, and chasing power just for the sake of power. The repressed version of the shadow of a 5th line in the culture sphere is a fear of power. And you end up self-sabotaging because you're afraid of what you're capable of. None of this is helpful. We need our 5th lines grounded in service of higher consciousness and able to be the leaders of the team, able to bring the 1st line ideas into the world in a way that's grounded in the heart. A trusted network of people who will be honest with you is absolutely essential for any 5th line. If you guys are surrounded by yes men, you're probably going to fall into shadow and maybe never get out. So yeah, a trusted network, a sense of humor, and hopefully deep self-awareness is going to make sure that you stabilize in your gifts and stay there. Line 6 is system. And as a 6th line, I can attest that we have no real interest in power, but we can see how all of the different pieces work together, right? How all of the other 5 lines play different essential roles in the great play of bringing any idea to fruition. And we can get really frustrated if other people can't see how all the different variables work together. So that's something to watch out for in shadow state. Us line 6s have to learn how to be witnesses and to speak up when our perspective is needed, knowing that it's a more broad perspective than the other lines bring, but not forcing it on people. Because as line 6s, if we wait until our voice is needed and wanted, we're gonna find that there's a grand role for us to play on any team. But we have to play with gusto and grace. We can't get frustrated that other people can't see the rest of infinity. So to move from the shadow to the gift frequency of our culture as a line 6, we have to be at peace with ourselves. Our work is internal, and when we're at peace with ourselves, we will bring peace to any project or team that we're part of. We're here to be an embodiment of living wisdom. Cool, but the paradox is that we have to both be the actor in a great drama, and then we also have to be apart from the drama and see through it. That's how we embody wisdom. Easier said than done, but we're working on it. Thank you so much for being here. I'm Molly. You're watching Mirror Readings, and please visit my website if you'd like to get a gene key reading with me. That's mirrorreadings.com. Subscribe to this channel to save 15% on all my offerings, and if you have any questions, please email me mirrorreadings@gmail.com.